Kim Do-hyun never wanted to be important. He was happy being nobody special. He woke up every morning, put on his uniform, and did his job on the ship. That was enough for him. The UES Horizon was Earth's first diplomatic ship. It carried 200 humans across the galaxy to meet the Valari people. The Valari had invited humanity to their home world. They wanted to talk about trade and friendship between their species. It was a big moment for Earth. Do-hyun worked in the communications room. He sent messages and fixed broken equipment. He was not a captain or a scientist or anyone important. He was just a worker. He liked it that way. But on that morning, everything changed. 3 officers got sick. They had eaten some alien fruit at a welcome party. Their faces turned red and they could not breathe properly. The medical team took them away quickly. This left the welcome team short of people. Captain Yoon Soo-jin walked into the communications room. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and a voice that made people listen. She looked at Do-hyun and pointed at him. "You, get dressed in your formal uniform. You are joining the welcome team." Do-hyun blinked. "Me? Captain, I just fix radios. I am not trained for diplomacy. I do not care. I need bodies to fill the line. The Valari expect a certain number of people. Just stand there, look professional, and do not speak unless spoken to. Can you do that?" "Yes, Captain." "Good. Be in the receiving hall in 30 minutes." Do-hyun rushed to his room. He put on his dress uniform. It was stiff and uncomfortable. He looked at himself in the mirror. He saw an ordinary face looking back at him. Brown eyes, black hair, medium height. Nothing special. Nothing memorable. He walked to the receiving hall. It was the biggest room on the ship. The walls were white and clean. Bright lights hung from the ceiling. 12 humans stood in a line, waiting for the guest. Do-hyun took his place at the end of the line. His heart beat fast. He had never seen an alien before. None of the humans on the ship had seen a Valari in person. They had only seen pictures and videos. The great doors opened. The Valari walked in. Do-hyun forgot to breathe. They were beautiful. The Valari stood 7 feet tall on average. Their skin was silver, like polished metal. Their eyes were large and round, filled with swirling colors like tiny galaxies. They wore long robes that flowed like water when they moved. There were 10 Valari in the group. 9 of them were advisors and guards. They walked with their heads held high. They looked proud and ancient. Then the princess entered. Princess Larian was different from the others. Her silver skin had a soft violet glow. Her eyes shifted between purple and blue like a sunset. She moved like she owned every room she entered. She was grace made into a living being. Do-hyun watched her walk down the line. She nodded to each human. A small, polite nod. Nothing more, nothing less. The humans nodded back. Everything was going well. Then she reached Do-hyun. Their eyes met. Larian stopped walking. Her whole body went stiff. The violet glow on her skin faded away. She turned gray, like ash, like death. Her beautiful eyes went wide with something Do-hyun had never seen before. Fear. Pure fear. She stumbled backward. Her hand reached out and grabbed an advisor's arm. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She was shaking. Her whole body was shaking. "Your Highness!" The advisor shouted. "What is wrong?" "That." "What is that?" Larian whispered. Her voice was broken and weak. She pointed at Do-hyun. "What is that creature?" Everyone looked at Do-hyun. The humans. The Valari. Everyone. Do-hyun looked behind himself. Nothing was there. He looked down at his body. Same uniform as everyone else. Same boots. Same hands. He touched his face. Same face he had always had. "I am sorry," he said carefully. Did I do something wrong? Lyrian did not answer. Her advisors rushed around her. They held her up because her legs seemed too weak to stand. They spoke to each other in their own language, fast and worried words that Do-hyun could not understand. Then they took her away. They practically carried her out of the hall. The doors closed behind them with a heavy sound. The room was silent. Captain Yoon turned to look at Do-hyun. Her face was red with anger and confusion. "What the hell did you do?" she demanded. "Nothing, Captain. I swear, I just stood here. I did not move. I did not speak. I only looked at her." "You made an alien princess collapse just by looking at her? I do not know what happened. I do not understand." The other humans started talking. Worried voices filled the room. This was supposed to be a peaceful meeting. This was supposed to be the beginning of friendship between two species. Instead, their princess had run away screaming because of a communications officer. Park Yuna, the science officer, walked over to Do-hyun. She was a small woman with curious eyes and messy hair. "Did you feel anything strange?" she asked. "When she looked at you?" "No, nothing. She looked at me and then she just broke." "This is bad," Yuna muttered. "This is very, very bad." A message came through the ship's speakers. A Valari voice, translated into English by the computer. "The Valari delegation demands an explanation. Until we understand what happened, all negotiations are stopped. We await your response." Captain Yoon closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened them again, she looked at Do-hyun with tired eyes. "Lieutenant Kim, you are going to medical for every test we have. I want to know everything about you. Blood, brain, bones, everything. Something about you scared that princess. We need to find out what." Don nodded. He did not argue. He was too confused to argue. As he walked to the medical bay, he kept thinking about her eyes. Those beautiful, terrified eyes. What had she seen when she looked at him? He was nobody. He was nothing special. So why had she looked at him like he was a monster? 3 days passed. The Valari did not speak to the humans. The negotiations stayed frozen. The whole mission was falling apart because of one moment in the receiving hall. Do-hyun spent those 3 days being tested. The doctors put him in machines that scanned every part of his body. They took his blood. They checked his brain. They looked at his bones and his muscles and his skin. They even checked his teeth. Dr. Beek Minji read the results with a confused face. "There is nothing wrong with you," she said. "You are completely normal. Average height, average weight, good health. Nothing unusual at all. Then why did she react like that? I do not know. Medically, you are just a regular human being." The Valari sent their own doctors. They scanned Do-hyun with alien machines that made strange humming sounds. They looked at him with tools that glowed blue and green. They asked him questions about his family, his childhood, his dreams. In the end, they found nothing. "He is ordinary," the Valari doctor reported. "There is nothing special about his body or his mind." This made things worse. If there was something wrong with Do-hyun, they could fix it or explain it. But there was nothing to fix. There was nothing to explain. The mystery remained. Captain Yoon called a meeting in the conference room. All the senior officers attended. Do-hyun sat in the corner, feeling small and guilty. "We need answers," the captain said. "The Valari High Council is asking questions we cannot answer. They want to know what their princess saw. If we cannot explain it, this mission fails. Earth loses its first chance at an alien alliance." Park Yuna raised her hand. "I have been researching Valari culture. They have something called soul sight. The royal bloodline can see things that others cannot. They call it perceiving the essence of a being. What does that mean in practical terms? I am not sure. Their records are vague. It might be some form of psychic ability. Or maybe they see energy patterns that other species cannot detect. So the princess saw something in Lieutenant Kim that we cannot measure? That is my theory. Yes. Everyone looked at Doyen. He wanted to disappear. A knock came at the door. Han Jisoo entered the room. She was the ship's historian, a quiet woman who spent most of her time reading old documents. She rarely spoke in meetings, but now she looked excited. "I found something," she said. "Something important." She connected her tablet to the room's display screen. An image appeared. It was an old document, written in Valari script. The translation ran along the bottom. "This is from the Valari sacred texts," Jisoo explained. "It is over 10,000 years old. It talks about a prophecy." She read the translation aloud. "When the Pale Walkers return from the void between stars, they shall wear familiar faces. One among them will carry the mark of ending, not in their hands, but in their essence. The one who sees this mark will know. The age of gods has passed. The age of mortals begins." The room was silent. "Pale Walkers," Captain Yoon said slowly. "Could that mean humans?" "It is possible," Jisoo replied. "Our skin is pale compared to the Valari silver. And we did come from across the galaxy. From their point of view, we came from the void between stars. What about the mark of ending? That is less clear. It could mean destruction, or it could mean change. The word in the original language can mean both." Yuna stood up and walked to the screen. She studied the text carefully. If the princess has soul sight, and she saw this mark on Do-Yoon, she turned to look at him. What exactly did she see? Do-Yoon shook his head. "I do not know. I felt nothing. I saw nothing. To me, it was just eye contact. But to her, it was something terrible." Jisoo pulled up another document. "There is more. The Valari royal family has used their soul sight to rule for thousands of years. They can see the potential of a person, how strong they are, how important they will become. This is how they choose their leaders and advisors. So they can see someone's future? Not exactly. They see possibility. What a person could become if they reached their full potential." Captain Yoon rubbed her forehead. "Let me understand this." The princess looked at Lieutenant Kim, an ordinary communications officer, and saw something so powerful that it made her collapse in fear. "Yes, that makes no sense." "He is." She paused, looking at Doyen. "No offense, Lieutenant. None taken, Captain. I agree." "I'm nobody." Jisoo shook her head. "Maybe that is exactly the point. What if what she saw was not about him specifically? What if she saw something about all humans?" The room fell silent again. Yuna spoke slowly. "The prophecy says the Pale Walkers will end the age of gods. The Valari have seen themselves as above other species for 10,000 years. Their soul sight made them feel special, chosen. And then they met us," Captain Yoon finished. "And whatever the princess saw in one ordinary human scared her more than anything in their recorded history," Jisoo confirmed. Do-Hin felt sick. He did not want to be part of any prophecy. He did not want to be special. He just wanted to fix radios and live a quiet life. "What do we do now?" he asked. Captain Yoon stood up. "We need to talk to the princess directly. She's the only one who can tell us what she actually saw." "The Valari will not allow it," Yuna said. "They have refused all our requests. Then, we make them understand how important this is. For both our peoples." She looked at Do-Yoon with serious eyes. "Lieutenant Kim, I need you to be ready. If we get permission to see the princess, you are coming with us. You are the key to this mystery, whether you like it or not." Don nodded. He had no choice. That night, he lay in his bed and stared at the ceiling. He thought about the prophecy. The age of gods ending. The age of mortals beginning. What did it mean? And why did he, of all people, have to be part of it? He closed his eyes and tried to sleep. But sleep did not come easy. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the princess staring at him. Her beautiful face twisted in terror. What had she seen inside him? He was afraid to find out. 5 days had passed since the incident. The princess had not left her room. The negotiations remained frozen. Tension filled every corner of the ship. Du-Hyen could not wait anymore. He made a decision. A stupid decision, probably. But he needed answers. He needed to understand why a princess from an ancient civilization had looked at him like he was the end of the world. He waited until the night shift. The hallways were empty and quiet. He walked slowly toward the guest section of the ship where the Bellari delegation stayed. 4 guards stood outside the princess's door. They were tall and strong. Their silver skins seemed to glow in the dim light. They held energy weapons that hummed with power. Du-Hyen stopped in front of them. His heart was beating fast, but he kept his face calm. "I need to speak with the princess," he said. The guards did not move. One of them spoke in a deep voice. "No visitors are allowed. The princess is recovering." "Recovering from what?" "From seeing me?" Du-Hyen stepped closer. "I did nothing to her. I need to understand what happened. Please, let me talk to her. Leave now, human, or we will remove you." Du-Hyen did not leave. He stood his ground. "Whatever she saw in me is hurting both our peoples. The negotiations have stopped. The alliance might fail. All because of a mystery that only she can solve. Please, just ask her if she will see me." The guards looked at each other. They seemed uncertain. This was not a situation their training had prepared them for. Then a voice came from inside the room. Soft and tired. "Let him enter." The guards stiffened. One of them touched the door panel, and it slid open. "Your Highness," a guard said, "this is not wise. This human is, I know what he is. Let him enter. That is my command." The guards stepped aside. Du-Hyen walked into the room. It was dark inside. The lights were set very low. Large windows showed the stars outside, cold and distant. The princess sat by one of these windows. She wore simple white clothes instead of her royal robes. Her silver skin looked dull. Tired. She did not look at him when he entered. "Close the door," she said. Du-Hyen touched the panel. The door slid shut behind him. Now they were alone. A human and an alien princess, separated by millions of years of different evolution. "You should not be here," Lyrian said. Her voice was calm now, not afraid. "Just exhausted. I had to come. I need to understand. Understanding will not help you." It did not help me. Du-Hyen walked closer. He sat down on the floor near her, keeping some distance between them. He did not want to scare her again. "When you looked at me," he said slowly, "what did you see?" Lyrian was quiet for a long time. The stars moved slowly outside the window. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "Do you know what it means to see a soul?" "No. My family has had this gift for 10,000 years. We can perceive the essence of a being, the weight of what they are, the brightness of what they could become." She turned to look at him for the first time. Her eyes were sad. "I have looked upon thousands of souls in my life. Bellari, other species, even a few humans during video communications. What do they look like? Like flames. Small, beautiful flames. Each one unique. Each one precious. But also limited. I can see where the flame begins and where it ends. I can see its whole potential in a single glance. And when you looked at me," Lyrian closed her eyes. Her hands trembled slightly. "I did not see a flame. I saw a star. A sun, burning so bright that it hurt to perceive. So much potential that I could not find its edges. I could not see where it ended." Du-Hyen did not understand. "I am nobody special. I fix communication equipment. That is all I am? I know. That is what makes it terrifying. She opened her eyes and looked directly at him. This time she did not look away. Behind you, she continued, I saw more lights. Thousands of them. Millions. An endless sea of burning suns, all connected to you by threads I cannot describe. Your ancestors. Your descendants. Every human who came before you, and every human who will come after. All of them burning together. Do-hyun felt cold. I do not understand. Neither do I, but I will try to explain. She stood up and walked to the window. Her reflection looked back at her from the glass. When a Valari dies, their flame goes out. It ends. Nothing remains except memory. We are individuals, separate, alone. And humans are different? Vastly different. When I looked at you, I saw that humans do not work that way. When a human dies, their light does not disappear. It passes on. It adds to the next generation. Every struggle your ancestors survived, every dream they held, every choice they made, it all stays. It grows. It builds. She turned to face him. You carry the weight of your entire species inside you. Every human who ever lived burns within you. And you do not even know it. You cannot feel it. To you, it is simply normal. Do-hyun stood up slowly. His legs felt weak. Is that why you were scared? Because humans are powerful? I was scared because you are more than powerful. You are endless. Her voice broke slightly. The prophecy speaks of the age of gods ending. My people have seen ourselves as gods for 10,000 years. Our soul sight made us feel special, superior. Then I looked at one ordinary human and saw more potential than every Valari who has ever lived combined. Tears formed in her eyes. Silver tears on silver skin. I was not scared of you, she admitted. I was scared of what your existence means for my people. And this is what one ordinary human contains. What hope do we have? What place do we have in a universe with beings like you? Do-hyun did not know what to say. He had come looking for answers, but now he had more questions than before. I never asked for this, he said quietly. I never wanted to be anything special. Lyrian smiled weakly. It was a sad smile, but also somehow warm. That is perhaps the most human thing you could say. You carry the light of millions, and you just want to be ordinary. She shook her head. You truly do not understand what you are. No, Do-hyun agreed. I do not. They stood in silence for a while. Two beings from different worlds, trying to make sense of something neither of them fully understood. Finally, Lyrian spoke again. I must address my people. And yours. They need to know the truth. What will you tell them? The truth. That the age of gods is over. That we are not superior. That we never were. She looked at him with those galaxy eyes. And that this is not a tragedy. It is an opportunity. Do-hyun did not understand what she meant, but he could see that something had changed in her. The fear was still there, somewhere deep. But something else was growing in its place, something that looked almost like hope. The great assembly hall was filled with people. Humans stood on one side. Valari stood on the other. Between them was an empty space where Princess Lyrian would speak. Do-hyun stood among the human delegation. Captain Yoon was beside him, her face tight with worry. No one knew what the princess would say. No one knew if this would save the mission or destroy it completely. The Valari High Council sat on elevated seats at the back of the hall. They were old Valari with gray in their silver skin and wisdom in their ancient eyes. They looked down at the assembly with expressions that showed nothing. Then the doors opened. Princess Lyrian walked in. She had changed. She no longer looked tired or afraid. She wore her royal robes again, flowing and beautiful. Her skin glowed with soft violet light. She walked with the confidence of someone who had made peace with a difficult truth. She stopped in the center of the hall. All eyes were on her. I have asked you all to gather here today because I must share something important. Something that affects both our peoples. Her voice was clear and strong. It filled every corner of the room. She looked at the Valari first. For 10,000 years, our royal bloodline has guided the Valari Confederacy. We used our gift of soul sight to lead. We could see the essence of beings. We could judge their worth. We could predict their potential. She paused. We believed this gift made us special, chosen by the universe to lead others. Some of the Valari nodded. This was their history, their pride. I was wrong. We were all wrong. The hall went silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. When I looked upon this human, she pointed at Do-hyun. I saw something that changed everything I believed. All eyes turned to Do-hyun. He felt small under so many stares. He wished he could disappear. This man is not special among his kind. He holds no high rank. He has no great achievements. He is ordinary, average, unremarkable in every measurable way. Do-hyun winced. It was true, but it still hurt to hear. Yet when I looked upon his soul, I saw more potential in him alone than in every Valari who has ever lived. Gasps filled the hall. The Valari council members leaned forward. Some of the advisors looked angry. One elderly Valari actually fainted and had to be caught by his neighbors. Lyrian raised her hand for silence. I know this is difficult to hear. It was difficult for me to accept. For 5 days, I hid in my room, trying to deny what I had seen. But denial does not change truth. She began to walk slowly through the hall as she spoke. The prophecy that we have feared for thousands of years speaks of this moment. It says that when the Pale Walkers come, the age of gods will end and the age of mortals will begin. We interpreted this as a warning, a catastrophe, something to fear and avoid. She stopped walking. But I understand now. It was never a warning. It was a promise. The human side of the room stirred. Captain Yoon whispered to Do-hyun, "What is she doing?" "I do not know," he whispered back. Lyrian turned to face the human delegation. "Your kind does not burn brighter because you are gods. You burn brighter because you refuse to believe you cannot. Every one of you carries not just your own light, but the light of every human who has ever lived. You are connected in ways my people will never be." Dr. Choi Yoonji, the ship's mind expert, spoke up. "Are you saying humans share some kind of group soul?" "Nothing so mystical," Lyrian replied, "but something remarkable. When a Valari dies, our light ends. It is gone forever. But when a human dies," she searched for words, "your light passes on. It grows. It adds to the next generation." She walked toward the human side of the room. "Every struggle your ancestors survived made you stronger. Every choice they made, every dream they held, every moment they refused to give up, it all stays inside you. It accumulates across generations. You carry your entire history within you, not as memory, but as fuel." She looked at Do-hyun specifically. "This man carries the light of billions, and he does not even feel it. To him, it is simply normal. Imagine what that means. If one ordinary human contains such fire, what does that say about your species as a whole?" The Valari were stirring now. Worried murmurs spread through their side of the hall. The council members spoke to each other in hushed voices. One of the council members stood. He was ancient, his silver skin almost white with age. "Princess Lyrian, what you say borders on heresy. For 10,000 years, we have known ourselves to be the chosen people. Are you saying we were wrong?" "Yes, Elder, we were wrong. Then what are we? If we are not special, what purpose do we serve?" Lyrian smiled at the old man. It was a gentle smile, full of understanding. We are what we have always been. A people with long history and great wisdom. A civilization that has survived for thousands of years. We are not less valuable because others are also valuable. She spread her arms wide. The universe is not a competition with only one winner. There is room for many kinds of greatness. She turned back to address everyone. We have spent so long believing we were superior that we forgot how to grow. We stopped trying. We stopped dreaming. We simply maintained what we had. She pointed at the humans. They have not stopped. They are young, and they are still burning. Still growing. Still dreaming. What do you suggest? Captain Yoon asked. What should we do with this knowledge? I suggest we learn from each other. Truly learn. Lyrian's voice grew passionate. We have knowledge and technology gathered over 10,000 years. You have something we have lost: momentum. Drive. The fire that pushes a species to become more than they were. She looked at her own people with pleading eyes. Let us not fear them. Let us join with them. Let us remember what it felt like to burn. The hall was silent again, but it was a different kind of silence now. Not shocked silence. Thinking silence. Then something unexpected happened. The ancient council member who had questioned her began to clap. Slowly at first. Then faster. Other Velari joined him. The sound grew and spread. On the human side, someone started clapping too. Then more. Soon the entire hall was filled with the sound of applause from two different species. Finding common ground for the first time, Captain Yoon leaned close to Do-yoon. You might have just saved the alliance, she said. By accident. Do-yoon shook his head. I did nothing. She did everything. She saw something in you that made her rethink her entire civilization. That is not nothing. Do-han watched Princess Lyrian standing in the center of the hall, surrounded by the applause of two peoples. She looked happy, relieved, hopeful. He still did not understand what she had seen in him. He still felt ordinary. But maybe that was okay. Maybe being ordinary and still carrying so much light was exactly the point. The humans did not need to feel special to be special. They just needed to keep burning. Everything changed after the assembly. The Velari and humans talked for 3 more weeks. Real talks this time. Not careful diplomatic words that meant nothing. Real conversations about sharing knowledge, building together, and learning from each other. The tree they created was different from what anyone had originally planned. It was not just about trade or territory. It was about partnership. True partnership between two species that were very different, but could help each other grow. Dong watched all of this from the side. He was still just a communications officer. He still fixed equipment and sent messages. But people treated him differently now. They looked at him with curious eyes. Some Velari even bowed to him when he walked past. He did not like the attention. On the last day before the horizon would return to Earth, Princess Lyrian requested to see him. Do-hyun went to the diplomatic meeting room, expecting guards and advisors. Instead, he found her alone, standing by a large window that showed the stars. You wanted to see me? He asked. Yes, please sit. They sat across from each other at the long table. Two very different beings who had somehow become connected by fate. I wanted to thank you, Lyrian said. Before you leave, thank me? I did not do anything. You did more than you know. She folded her hands on the table. When I saw what you were, I could have reacted differently. I could have called you a threat. I could have demanded that my people destroy your ship. Fear makes people do terrible things. Why did you not? Because of how you reacted. When I collapsed in terror, you did not run. You did not attack. You simply asked if you had done something wrong. She smiled softly. Such a simple question. Such a human question. In that moment, I saw that your power did not make you dangerous. Your nature did. My nature? Humans question themselves. They doubt. They worry about hurting others, even when they are not at fault. A species that carries such light but remains so humble. She shook her head. That is not a species to fear. That is a species to admire. Daehyun felt his face grow warm. He did not know how to respond to such words. What will happen now? He asked, changing the subject. With your people? We will change, slowly. It is hard to release 10,000 years of belief in one moment. But we will try. Her eyes grew distant, looking at something far away. I think we forgot how to dream. We had everything we needed, so we stopped reaching for more. Your species reminded us what it feels like to want something beyond ourselves. And what do you want? Lyrian was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that surprised him. I want to visit Earth one day. I want to walk among your people and see them living their ordinary lives. I want to understand how beings with such fire inside them can act so normal. Earth is not very exciting, Daehyun said. We have traffic and boring jobs and people complaining about the weather. Lyrian laughed. It was a beautiful sound, like silver bells. That is exactly what I want to see. The ordinary life of an extraordinary species. They talked for another hour. About small things. Food and weather and funny stories from their lives. It was strange how easy it was to talk to an alien princess. Once you stopped thinking of her as an alien princess, when it was time to go, they stood and faced each other. I hope we meet again, Lyrian said. Me too. She reached out and took his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth. Thank you, Kim Do-yeon, for showing me what humanity truly is. I still do not understand what you saw in me. I know. And that is exactly why I saw it. They parted ways. Daehyun walked back to the horizon feeling lighter than he had in weeks. The ship left Valari space the next morning. Daehyun stood at a viewport and watched the alien world grow smaller and smaller until it was just another point of light among billions. Park. Yuna found him there an hour later. Are you okay? She asked. Yes, just thinking. About what? About what the princess said. About humans carrying the light of all our ancestors. He turned to look at Yuna. Do you believe it? Yuna thought about it carefully. I believe she saw something real. Whether it is exactly what she described or something else, I do not know. But yes, I believe there is something special about humans. Not because we are better than other species, but because we never stop trying to be better than ourselves. That is a nice way to think about it. It is also probably true. She smiled. We came from caves, Do-yeon. Just a few thousand years ago, our ancestors were painting on rocks and hunting animals with sticks. Now we are flying through space and meeting alien civilizations. That is not normal. That is not ordinary. That is miraculous. Do-yeon nodded slowly. Maybe the princess was right. Maybe we do carry something special inside us. The dreams of everyone who came before, and the hopes of everyone who will come after. They stood together, watching the stars flow past the window. What will you do when we get back to Earth? Yuna asked. Same as always. Fix equipment. Send messages. Live my life. That seems anticlimactic. You changed the course of interspecies relations. I did not change anything. I just stood there and let someone look at me. Yuna laughed. Only a human would describe it that way. What do you mean? I mean that most species would brag, would claim credit, would use what happened to gain power or fame. She patted his shoulder. But you just want to go back to your normal life. You want to be ordinary again. Is that wrong? No, I think that is exactly the point. She started walking away, then stopped to look back at him. The princess said humans carry the light of billions without feeling it. Maybe that is our greatest strength. We do not get distracted by how amazing we are. We just keep moving forward, keep building, keep burning. She left him alone with his thoughts. Do-hyun turned back to the window. The stars stretched out forever in every direction. So many worlds, so many possibilities. Somewhere out there, Princess Larian was starting a new chapter for her people. A chapter where they would learn to dream again. And somewhere in here, inside Do-hyun's ordinary body, the light of every human who had ever lived continued to burn. He did not feel it. He could not see it. But it was there. It would always be there. Because that was what it meant to be human. Not to be perfect. Not to be special. Not to be gods. Just to be human. To carry the dreams of the past and the hopes of the future, and to keep walking forward. One ordinary step at a time. The stars waited for them. And humanity was just beginning to burn.